Welcome everybody, this is Christian from Sterling Night Gamers, and today I'm going to continue my tips, tricks, and battle tactics series with Star Trek Ascendancy, and today I'm going to be going over the Federation. The Federation is my favorite race to play with. They're a fun race, but they're not going to get you that many military victories, but we'll go through some of the best strategies for them. So their disadvantage is pretty significant if you come across a pre-warp civilization early on, but the Federation may never invade or colonize pre-warp inhabited systems. That's definitely something that could be frustrating and very bad luck early on if the first planet or two that you come across is a pre-warp civilization. That's definitely a disadvantage that you can come across early on, so hopefully that won't happen to you. Your next advantage is explore strange new worlds. Take one culture when you draw a civilization exploration card or discover a new phenomenon. That's definitely a huge advantage. It's more of a mid and late game advantage because it's a great way to just win the game and just go out and try to explore as many planets as possible. But even early on, as you come across places, you're probably going to be able to jump to Ascendancy level 2 and have 2 fleets before most other races will. So ideally you'll come across a Warp 1 civilization that could easily be brought into the fold of the Federation through your starting technology of having the universal translator and being at Ascendancy level 1 or hopefully maybe even 2 by the time you come across them. The first fleet that you should build early on is definitely the science fleet. There's a lot of hazards out there, and the fact that you get an advantage for exploring new systems, new phenomenon, and coming across stuff, you want to go out there and find those planets and phenomenon. Science fleets really allow your fleet to last a lot longer than they would otherwise. Your second fleet that you should probably build would be a colonization fleet if you've come across an empty planet that is really good. If there's a really great Warp 2 civilization planet, maybe your diplomatic fleet, but for the most part, I think for most players it'll be science fleet, then your colonization fleet. What's nice about the colonization fleet is you can colonize a planet without costing you a culture, which will shorten the race in order to get to your ascension victory. If you are going to build a colony, go ahead and go through the effort to build the fleet, move that fleet, and then colonize it that way rather than just using the traditional way of colonizing a system. It will take you a little bit longer, but it allows you to do it without a culture, and you can do it during your command phase rather than your build phase. Something that you should also keep in mind, and this is definitely a strong advantage for all the races, but whenever you have enough production to build a fleet, just build a fleet directly. If you build enough ships in order to form a fleet, you can do it without using a command during the build phase. Getting 3 production isn't all that hard, so hopefully your science fleet has found the system. If you're at Ascendancy level 2, just go ahead and build a colonization fleet, and then during your command phase move that fleet over there and colonize it. That's better than sacrificing a ship in your science fleet in order to build that colony. Something that my friends usually do when we play is that we start out with an additional technology we choose from our pack. And for the Federation, I would always recommend long-range sensor arrays. When discovering a new system, draw 2 system discs and choose one. This is really useful. In the mid-game, when your shields haven't been upgraded, it allows you to avoid the more dangerous hazards. Or just choose the type of planet that you want to focus on if you don't have any science or if you don't have as much culture as you would like. This allows you to pick and choose the planets that you want, particularly if you have the Borg expansion. It reduces your chances of coming across a transwarp hub. So it's definitely something I would recommend getting. Plus it gives you an additional warp icon, so it allows your ships to jump in and out of warp at one system further than they normally would, which is a great technology. Useful technologies, I would consider the Cochrane Institute, which allows you to move an additional impulse speed that really cuts down the number of systems that you're exploring that cost 2 commands to get to. Transwarp Drive is also very useful. It allows you to warp an additional 2 locations. Starfleet Diplomatic Corps is useful if you're coming across a lot of civilizations you want to assimilate into the Federation. It makes it much more affordable. It doesn't stall your race in order to get to level 5 Ascension, which it's the only viable victory path for the Federation is try to get to the top Ascension level. You may even want to hold back colonizing worlds or building culture nodes or taking over enemy planets unless it's early on and enough in the game where it'll make up for it. Building a culture node, especially early on in mid-game, is essential in order to get that steady flow of culture, but if you're about to win, it's not worth the 2 culture that it would cost to build it in order for the game to be prolonged in order for you to get to that ascension level. If you have a really aggressive Romulan player, Tachyon Detection Array is definitely something that you may want to research. If there's a lot of players, like more than the 3 in the base, and you're at 4 or 5, or with more expansions, even 6 players, multicultural collaboration is definitely a great bribe that will make your trade agreements more valuable than other races and will want races to offer you the 3 production trade agreements and stay at peace with you in order to get that multicultural collaboration, get that additional science. If you have a turtling enemy, like if there's a Romulan player that's walled themselves off and made it impossible to get into their system, advanced stellar cartography is definitely interesting. If there's really aggressive Klingons and Kardashians that are attacking your planets, planetary defense shield or Vetrion array beam emitter are ways to keep your planet safe and discourage an attack. Overall, I love the Federation. They're a lot of fun to play. It's definitely going to be a good strategy for you to increase your shields and get that science fleet out there and hit as many systems as you can in order to achieve that victory once you know you're close to that ascension limit. You may not want to go out and explore blindly too early on, especially if you're playing the Borg expansion, because you could be showing your enemies really great planets that they could pick up before you. But if it's late game and a lot of people are pretty settled, just go out there and try to discover as many planets as possible and get that free culture and science from the phenomenon. Focus on the diplomatic and ascension as your way to victory. What's your favorite race in Star Trek Ascendancy? And I hope you found this to be useful. Bye.